In this episode, I'm gonna tell you about the only moment that I have on my trips that I really felt in danger for my life and I won't be able to make it. So if you have nothing to do, grab your favorite drink and stay with me. Welcome back. If you remember, in the last video I told you how I almost lost $50,000 for rescue operation, and in this video I mentioned that I was slowed down because of flat tire and a few unexpected circumstances. And actually these unexpected circumstances were so colorful that I decided to share them in a different video. The idea of this video is not to show you that I'm a great adventurer and I'm so brave that I can make the impossible possible. No, it is just to show you that we've all got some bad moments in our trips, to show you that we cannot prepare for everything what is about to come, because it is just impossible. I cannot see this in advance and be ready for it because I didn't know anything about it. And I hope that you will learn from my mistakes and eventually all of this will help you during your trips. Now, before I start, let me just tell you a few words about riding on high altitude, because it is not a joke. You really need to prepare yourself to give enough time to acclimatize, otherwise you will struggle a lot. And it doesn't matter in what physical shape you are at the moment, you won't be able to make it. Bigger you are, worse is going to be, because your body will need more oxygen. And some people say, no, I'm a tough guy, I can make 100 push-ups, pull-ups, all of this. It doesn't matter when you don't have any oxygen. Take it seriously or you're gonna have a problem, a big problem. I have a full video on this topic, so if you're interested, you can watch it here. Back to the story. If you remember, I told you that I've got a flat tire and I couldn't fix it. The reasons why are many, but I'm not going to discuss them in this video. Anyway, after I realized that I couldn't fix it, I had to ride the last 50-60 kilometers with flat tire. And it was okay until I reached the first village in which I was hoping that I will find a garage shop to buy another tire, or place or someone to help me to fix my problem and continue riding. But you know, sometimes we make plans and we hope that it will be what we like, but they never go the way we want them. So all of my plans just fell down or fell apart when I realized that the village was very small and also it was preparing for evacuation because of bad weather. So there were no people at all and I couldn't fix anything. It took me just a few seconds to realize that I wouldn't be able to receive any help here, and I decided to continue riding with my flat tire. And at the end of this village I saw a group of Indian riders with 5-6 bikes on the side of the road, and I stopped next to them to ask them what they do, where I can find a tire shop to buy a spare tire, because my tire was already falling apart because of these 60 kilometers. And they told me that it is impossible here. They told me about this evacuation of the village. They told me that on this high altitude, the patches doesn't work, the pumps doesn't work, the metal in the rubber are very cold, there's not enough air to work on it. And I asked them, okay, but what you do if you have a flat tire? And they said, one of our guys got a flat tire and we just load the motorcycle on this truck, and he pointed to me one very old truck on the side of the road, and he will transport him to Keelung, which is 120 kilometers away, and over there he will be able to find a tire. And he suggests, don't waste any more time, go and ask them, maybe they will load your motorcycle, because they will start in every minute, maybe now they will start already. So without wasting any more time, I went there to ask these guys, and they say, yeah, absolutely. So I load my motorcycle on this truck as well. Here I have to stop and give you a little bit more details about the truck, because it was not like the trucks that we can see around Europe or in America. It was very old, in terrible condition, rust everywhere. You can see these bends and marks that were created from many years of use in these harsh conditions. The tires were at the end of their poor life, almost like a slicks, and everything was looking like it will fall apart right now. But I had no choice. This was the only form of transportation that I was able to find. There were 4 people already in the cabin, so they told me that I have to stay on the back, on the cargo zone. And I didn't mind at all, because I didn't know what is about to come. So I sat there on big wooden box for tools or spare parts, I don't know in what. The motorcycle that they've got was one Royal Enfield Classic on the left side, and then I've got mine Royal Enfield Himalayan next to it, tightened with the ropes that they've got there, just secured it as best as possible. I sat there and the truck started. In the beginning was fine, it was just like a flat road, it was even a tarmac road, and we were moving with a normal speed. It was cold and I was stayed with all of my gear, include my gloves and helmets, because it was like 5 degrees. But even so, I was enjoying the traveling. It was good. At least I was moving, and at least I will be able, or at least this is what I thought, I will be able to cross the mountain and change my tire. So far, so good. It was good until we start climbing into the real pass, where the asphalt was changed with dirt road with many bumps and big rocks and stuff like that. So the truck was shaking really seriously, and the motorcycles, one next to another, start to hit each other. Down, 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 down. And during this process, they broke actually the right indicator of my motorcycle. And I stood up immediately, tried to protect the bike or to hold them until we moved, but I couldn't. So finally I hit the top of the cabin 3-4 times and the guy stopped, and I told them that I have to separate the bikes, otherwise they will be absolutely destroyed until we reach our place. So I separate the bikes. On the left side I've got this Royal Enfield Classic, on the right hand side I got my Royal Enfield, and I use all the ropes that they've got, tighten it as secure as possible, sat again on this wooden box, and actually I grabbed the ropes and tighten it like this and tried to hold it for the rest of the trip. But at that moment I didn't know that these 120 kilometers until Keelung mean 6 hours. The situation was not good at all, but as you know, one bad never come alone. So the second big obstacle that I faced was that this old diesel engine was not working properly. Because of lack of air, because of this high altitude, it was choking, coughing like a old smoker, and throwing all of this black smoke into my face, into the cargo zone where I was staying. It was so bad that I was looking for a place to stay to get some fresh air, which is already lacking because of the high altitude. But even this was not enough, because then I felt a really strong smell of petrol. Because these two motorcycles were shaking like crazy like this, and the petrol in the tanks was moving constantly, the smell of petrol was so strong that on some stage I thought that they were leaking petrol. So I stood up and checked around the bikes, checked the valves, and there were no leaks. But as I told you, the smell was so strong that I thought that if we've got a spark for some reason, it will create a fire. So let me summarize all of the obstacles. High altitude, which is mean lack of air, cold weather, backward sitting position, a lot of bumps and shakings, not burning very well diesel, creating this black smoke, strong smell of petrol. I was exhausted from holding the ropes for hours, and last but not least, the whole day I ate only dry apricots. The apricots I ate because they've got a lot of potassium, and this actually helps with high altitude. But the reason I did not eat anything else, because before I got the flat tire, I was not hungry. In fact, I saw a few places on the road where I can eat something, but because I was not hungry, I said, okay, I can do it later. Yes, but no, later I got the flat tire, and since I've got it, I haven't seen anything on the road, and I was not hungry, but my stomach was full only with dry apricots and water. That's it. In many places the road was so narrow that actually the truck was hitting the rocks. And when I look over the side panels, I can see like hundreds of meters down below without anything. And when I look on the other side, it's like big rocks like this. So I was thinking, man, if we fell down here, they wouldn't be able even to find a piece of me. And because the driver was driving very fast, okay, now I understand he probably do this every single day, he know every corner, every bump, every hole, but for me, sitting on the back, backwards, not seeing even the road, shaking like crazy, holding these ropes, all of this was not good situation at all. it was like, man, I hope we're gonna make it. I hope we're gonna make it. So with all the circumstances and all the obstacles that I told you that I had at the moment, the only possible and almost guaranteed outcome was that I'm gonna feel bad after a while. And of course, it's happening. I felt this constantly dizziness. I was something like on sleeping mode. I actually cannot keep my eyes open. It was so difficult. I wanted to sleep. I said to myself many times, don't fall to sleep, don't fall to sleep, don't fall to sleep. But it was so difficult. I had the feeling that each one of my eyelids weighed around 1 kilogram. I couldn't keep them open. Another feeling was that my head was going around like this, left and right. I cannot focus properly. Everything was very, very strange, bizarre. I know that it's not good. I know that I'm poisoning myself, but I cannot do anything about it. And the worst of everything, that I start to feel my stomach going up very slowly, like this, whoop to here, and then stopped and moved back. And then very, very gently up again, up to here, and then moved back again, and then once again, and went down again. And I was hoping that all of this will go away, even that I understood that it's impossible, but I was hoping. And if you ask me now, why I just don't hit the cabin again, we can stop for a while, I can get a deep breath, and all of this will go away. I can ask these guys maybe for slow down or something. I don't know. As I told you, my brain was not functioning properly. Also, I don't want to stop these guys because they do their job. Just because they make me a favor to load me and my motorcycle, it doesn't mean that I have to behave like a angry kid. Stop here, stop here. So just this is what's in my mind. As I said, it was just not operating properly. I told you about my stomach, and I told you that I was hoping that it will stop, but the last time when it came, it was so fast, and with such a pressure that it took me just a few seconds to remove my gloves and my helmet, because I was still with gloves and helmet, and my helmet was still fastened with double D. So it took me like a few seconds to hold the pressure, and finally when I removed my helmet, oh man, it's just erupt like a real volcano, poof, like a big fountain, maybe that big, wow, going over the side panels. And I told you about the dry apricots that I ate all day. So I can see the pieces. I was able to see the pieces of apricots in this fountain. It was such a funny moment when I remember it now, but I feel so bad back when it's happening. Oh man, this was terrible. Of course, during this process, I dropped the bikes and the ropes, and I didn't care about what will happen with these bikes. It was so bad, but at the same time, I felt this momentary relief. And then, after all of this is finished, like a few seconds, I sat on this box again, put my helmet again on my head because it was cold. And it happened 3 more times, but now, since this moment, since the first moment, I did not lock the helmet. And I also dropped the gloves, so every time when it happened, I need to remove the helmet, go over the side panels, through everything that I have to through, and then sit again. Oh man, it was such a terrible condition. So after these 3, 4, or 5 volcanoes that I've got, I sat again on the wooden box and grabbed again the ropes, trying to protect the motorcycle. And I told you, I felt this momentary relief because I actually threw away everything that I've got in my stomach, but it was just for a few minutes. After that, I went again to this dizziness and sleeping mode, and this desire to sleep, to close my eyes. And I was so tired from holding these ropes for hours. I actually, my hands were exhausted. I've got some cramps here, and sometimes I just drop it for a few seconds, but when I see how it's crashed here and there, my side stand was broken, the motorcycle was on the side, starts to hitting even more to make more damages, and I was grabbing again and again and again, and it took I don't know how many hours. I lost completely the sensation of time, weather, location, purpose, everything. It was just me sitting there fighting with the rope, trying to survive. And I really felt this, that I'm gonna die here. I'm gonna die here. Not from riding a motorcycle. I'm gonna die of black smoke that was coming on the rear side of the truck. And on some stage I even laughed to myself, oh, what a funny title for your channel. Motorcycle Adventures Diet Poisoned in the Rear Side of the Truck. I was not even riding, man, this was ridiculous, but just I'm telling you all of this to understand what kind of shitty mess was going around my head in this moment. As I told you, I completely lost the feeling of time, but on some stage the truck stopped and the engine was off. And one of the drivers came to me and said, hey, we're going to eat and drink some tea. Would you like to come with us? And I said, no, thank you. I'm here, I'm all right, I'll stay here. And soon I realized that the engine was not working. There's no smoke. I said to myself, oh man, now you can sleep. And I immediately fell to sleep. For how long, I don't know. It could be minutes, it could be hours, but when I heard again the engine start working, it was already dark. Then I asked the guys, hey, how much more? And they said 2 more hours. So I stood again, grabbed the ropes again, and prepared myself for the last portion of this terrible roller coaster. Somehow I survived the last part of this terrible journey, but finally when we arrived in Keelung, which was 3,300 meters above the sea level, everything started to become more normal. The road became asphalt, the engine started to work more properly, the smoke stopped, the smell of petrol disappeared, and right from nothing I start to feel much better, like nothing happened before. It is just, I don't know how to explain it. It was like I was dreaming, that's it, and now I woke up and everything is alright. After this situation, the only thing that I can tell you is that our bodies are absolutely amazing biological machines that could handle such a terrible, almost any situation. But it doesn't mean that we have to look for this type of activities all the time. Or with a few words, you shouldn't look for adventures on your trips, or you don't have to make anything stupid, because the adventure will find you one way or another. See you on the road. Ciao.